Hello, you party animals. What is happening? My name is Tara Wagner. I am the Belief Breakthrough Coach for female entrepreneurs, helping them to crush their goals, not their soul. And in this live stream, I'm going to talk to you about Instagram strategies that work from the IG queen, Jasmine Star, when and how to hire your first people. So like a VA, a project manager, so on. Marie Forleo's advice on how and where to spend your time and money in your business, and what to do if you can't gain traction with all of your efforts, how to overcome the fear of launching, and some strategies from Amy Porterfield on how to play bigger in your business. So I just want to say right now, what's up, Brooke? I want to say right now, you guys, there's a lot of information. I have spent the last hour synthesizing about 8 hours of content down as briefly as I can because I don't want to keep you all night. I know for some of you it's very late. So I want to, good morning, Tara. I always forget if you pronounce it like me or not. I think it's Tara, right? I am going to go through this information fast. So take notes. You are going to definitely want to take notes. And there's going to be a lot of information that I'm dropping on you. Today was so amazing. So quick note, first of all, if you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Make sure to drop a comment letting me know where you're from and what you do. I am currently in San Diego. I'm at a private event hosted by Amy Porterfield and her very special guests, Marie Forleo and Jasmine Star. Now, if you are a female entrepreneur and you are not familiar with these ladies, I encourage you to Google all three of them. They will blow your mind. They will change your lives. They will change your businesses. And I am incredibly grateful to be able to be here with them. This, like I said, is a very private event. There's only about 300 to 400 people here, and it's a very intimate setting. We've been able to really interact in an amazing way. If you have not seen on Instagram, I got selfies with Amy and Jasmine so far, but Marie was in and out real fast, and I'll explain why in just a minute. Last night in our live stream, I collected questions from all of you, and then I spent today hunting down those answers. So I have about 10 pages of notes and so many takeaways that, that they were offering that I'm just going to be dishing out to you guys tonight. So if you guys are ready, be sure to get ready to take some notes. If you have additional questions that you want me to continue hunting for, there is one more day to this event. So I'm going to be back again tomorrow night to share more synthesized information from tomorrow's training. And I am told tomorrow's training is all about money-making strategies, so it should be very nitty-gritty. Today was a little bit nitty-gritty and some great mindset and just encouragement and support. So let me pull up my notes. And I am going to keep the chat so I can see you guys in the chat still, but I can't see anything else. So hopefully everything else is functioning properly. Okay, so this was day one, or officially day one of this event. And we got to connect with Marie Forleo first. Now, she right now is writing a book called Everything is Figure Outable. If you do not know Marie Forleo, that is one of her catchphrases, Everything is Figure Outable. And that is the book that she's working on right now. So she actually came out of her hermit hole to come to this event for a very brief time. I think we were with her for maybe an hour or two. And it was amazing what she was able to throw down in that little bit of time. And then she left, hopped back on a plane, and went right back into her hermit hole because she is motivated to get this book done. So I loved that she came out of hiding for us, and I love that she went right back in. That just shows me strong boundaries, and I love seeing female entrepreneurs with strong boundaries. So woo-woo. Okay, so the first thing that I want to share, somebody had asked her, how do I overcome self-doubt, this fear of launching this business or a new business? What insights do you have when you're worried about putting yourself out there in the world? And this question actually, I feel like, answers something that Tiffany Ruck asked. And it was, what Tiffany had asked was, Marie Forleo is hilarious. Was she always comfortable being goofy in front of people? How would she encourage others to be more comfortable having fun publicly? So again, putting yourself out there. And her answer was brief and to the point and immediate. And she said, you have to take action. So stop thinking. She said, your brain is your greatest tool, but it should never be your master. You need to bypass your brain. You need to stop thinking. You need to just push the send button, put it out there. So what she actually did was she shared a story with us about how she used to just hate getting in cold water. And finally she realized, you know what, this is just a mindset too. I can change this, which I love that, you guys. I love when people realize that everything we think and do and say is actually a mindset. And if it's not serving us, we can change it. And so she said, you know, I wanted to get out there. So I started telling myself that I would, and I did. I just forced myself to just dive right in. And it was that act of taking action that actually changed her experience of being in cold water, and now she loves it. But one thing that I took away from her story was she said that she actually created rewards for herself for taking action. And it didn't have to be a big reward. You know, she was talking about how she gets dinner points, and her second half will, you know, go out and like buy her dinner. And she's like, I don't need somebody to buy me dinner. Like, I can buy dinner for the rest of my life. I'm good. But getting points, like that point system, tapped into my psychology and what works for me. And so I really love that she added that in there. It's a very important technique that you can use to help retrain your brain. It's just the reward system, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You know, it can, I was talking with a client the other day, and we were talking about using a sticker chart because it made us laugh and it was fun and it was funny, but it just gives us that sense of like, yes, I filled up my sticker chart, and we feel amazing and we feel great for doing it. So taking the action, but also giving yourself some sort of reward for that action, whether that's like, I'm going to let myself have a piece of dark chocolate, or I'm going to give myself a sticker on my chart. You are rewarding yourself for doing the thing that you want to do, so that you're getting that little dopamine hit and you're helping to kind of reprogram yourself in this other direction. So for those of you that are dealing with that, that is one great strategy. And I absolutely agree with her. There's a quote by Joan Baez that says, action is the antidote to despair. Think of despair being any sort of fear. It is only through taking action that we can actually overcome fear. There's a lot of mindset and belief breakthrough work that we can do to complement that. But at the end of all that work, the final step to that work is still taking action. So I absolutely love that that was the first thing out of her mouth, because you guys know me, that's something I preach. So the next thing that she talked about, there was a question about balancing everything that you need to do, especially with a budget, making sure that, you know, if you've got a tight budget, if you're building on a shoestring, if you have no budget, or you're just wanting to make sure that you're not spending money in the wrong places, how do you do that? So her advice was to always operate in what you absolutely need, and using very careful discernment in that. And what I really love that she said, first of all, she said, you know, we're a big business now, but we're still scrappy. We're constantly looking at our stuff and saying, do we really need that? We're looking over our credit card statements, and Amy Porterfield chimed in with this as well and said, you know, look at your credit card statements on a regular basis for those subscriptions that you can cancel. Be very, very wise about where your finances are going to build your business. And start small and start free or cheap. There's a lot of platforms out there where you can start marketing for free, right? There's a lot of email marketing systems out there that are free to get started. So I love hearing that she is this multi-million-dollar company, but they're still very, very scrappy. I think that financial freedom is so important, and knowing how to manage our money in a very healthy way, and, you know, kind of living within our means, even within our budget or within our business, is a very important principle to apply. She also said, be very, very careful that you do not get swept up in the marketing hoo-ha, was her word. And what she meant by this is that when you are in business building mode, you're going to see webinars and ads and this new program and that new course and this system and that coach. And you have to be very, very mindful about what it is that you're choosing to invest your time and money in your business. There are tons of ideas out there, and all of them are great for someone, but you can't do all of them. You have to be very careful in discerning what is the right path for you, the right system for you. And again, I think it goes back to that taking action. Don't get stuck in the phase of constantly looking at learning more and developing more. Just get right in there to taking action. So drop me a comment, you guys, if you agree with this. If you feel like taking action in your business is probably one of the biggest, maybe also scariest things that you can do to actually grow your business. If you feel like that is true for you, just drop a yes in the comments, or like drop an action. Just type in action in the comments. So she also said, as you were going through that question of, do we really need this, to really ask the question, is this better invested in part-time help? So instead of getting some new system, some new program, some new course, would this be better invested in part-time help? And I'm going to come back to that because I have a whole bunch of notes on hiring for your first time. The most important step is to just get things going. So this is another thing that, another question that was asked, but again, kind of goes along with the same topic of taking action and knowing where to spend your time and energy in your business. She said that it's very important to constantly, consistently put an effort to pruning things back. So you're going to have lots of things, and your business can very easily grow and spread in a million directions, but you always need to be pruning things back. You also really need to take control of where your attention goes. And she talked very passionately about the fact that our phones are little addiction boxes, and that they are designed to be addictive. They are designed to keep us on apps longer and longer. And we have to be very conscious of that in our business, because everything is working to steal your attention. The attention is like the hottest commodity right now. So really taking control of your attention and where it's going, creating some clear boundaries in your life and in your business when it comes to things like technology. And then what she also said was, you know, when you get into that place of information overload, be sure to step away. You know, get out in nature, get a notebook out and go old school and start writing stuff down. Remember that you are in control. You can feel very like pulled towards your phone, towards your everything, feeling like you need to be in 100 places all at once, right? If anybody resonates with that, can you put like 100 places in the comments so that I know that's not just me? And actually, I need to change my chat settings so that I can see all my messages, because I just realized that that wasn't set properly. So really feeling like you are being pulled in all those directions. If that resonates with you, drop a comment and let me know that that's you as well. I feel like in today's age, this is really common. It's something that was talked a lot about today, either from the speakers and presenters or just in circles. We were all talking about that. So really remembering that you're in control, and to consistently keep putting yourself back into control, that it's very, very normal and natural to be pulled in these directions over and over again, and that that's okay. What you want to do is consistently, when you're doing that pruning back, you also want to be pruning back of that information overload. So unsubscribing from things that are no longer serving you, or having a system. What I like to do with my subscriptions is I will actually send everything to a folder. You can do this in Gmail very easily. Send everything to a folder, all your subscriptions. That folder for me is called Read Once a Week. And I have a little task in my task list that pops up every Friday that says inbox management and read once a week. And I go in and I look through and I read everything once a week. If I notice from there that I'm getting too many emails from somebody, or I'm just not interested in opening all of those emails, that's a sign for me that it's time to unsubscribe. So that's a way that I do that for myself, and it might be a way that you can help with that information overload as well. So keep putting yourself back in control, and don't beat yourself up when you notice that you're being pulled in all these different directions again. It is normal. It is natural. It is the world we're living in right now. You just have to keep putting yourself back into control. Let's see. Okay, so some other little tips on that was Amy Porterfield has this amazing, she calls her integrator. Her name is Chloe. And she offered up a little bit like tips in terms of how to best prioritize activities. So when you're pulled in all these directions, her recommendation was to start with your big tasks first in the day. So if you have a very big project you're working on, or, you know, just some very big important IPAs, income producing activities in your business, schedule those first in your day to get those done, and then move on to what she calls the quick hitters. So that's like, you know, checking in on Facebook and Instagram and email and things that you can knock off your list really fast. Don't do those things first, because those things kind of scatter your energy and your focus. Use your first energy in the day to funnel all of your focus into the most important things, and then move on to those quick hitters to knock them off your list. This was good for me because I'm like let me get all these little things off my list and then I can focus on the big thing. And it's absolutely not true for me. And I know this, and it's a habit that I can get to work to break as well. Because when you are going in and doing all those quick hitters, now you've got 10 million things on your mind. This email from this person and that comment over here, and why isn't my Facebook ads running properly? And then you don't have the focus and the mental energy to get those big important tasks done. They get put off another day, and so on and so forth. So big tasks first in the day, then move on to your quick hitters. Okay, so this was a great question that was asked, and I think a lot of you will resonate with this. The question was, I'm putting out consistent content on a regular basis, but I feel like I'm just spinning my wheels. People are not seeing my content. I'm not getting the engagement on Instagram, on Facebook, on my emails. You know, what can I do? And this is some very practical advice from Marie Forleo. Excuse me. She said, number one, you need to find someone who can give you honest, constructive, objective feedback on whether your stuff is really hitting the mark. And it needs to be from people that you respect. So in other words, a business mentor, someone who you know does really well in their business, or you know, has the type of business that you want. They're seeing results. You know, maybe you're going to talk to a copywriter, like somebody that you know can offer you real feedback, not like your mom, right? Who's going to be like, no, it's amazing. Or not like, you know, somebody who may or may not be your ideal customer, and they're going to give you feedback from their perspective, but not necessarily from the bigger viewpoint that you might need. So going to people you respect and getting real constructive feedback to really find out, you know, what am I missing here? A lot of times we think we're hitting the mark, but when you actually start talking to other people, you're going to be surprised what they come back and say, right? Sorry if I'm looking over in the corner. I'm looking at guys' comments as I'm talking. So you're going to be surprised what they come back and say. They might come back and say, you know what? This doesn't make sense to me. What does this mean? And then you add some clarifiers in there, and then this piece starts hitting the mark because more people are getting it. Or maybe it's about using an analogy or switching up a couple words. That kind of feedback, we can't see our own blind spots, right? It doesn't matter how great of a coach, an entrepreneur, a business person you are, you need someone else to see your feedback because you're stuck in the weeds. You're this close to it. So you need someone who has that opposite or outside perspective to offer you that feedback. She also said, do not be afraid of receiving bad feedback. Like, don't embrace it. Get really comfortable with rejection. Get really comfortable putting yourself out there. Get really comfortable with any sort of feedback you might get. That is the only way you are going to grow, is if you're willing to say, I don't know how to make this better. What would you do? And, you know, having some outside opinions, maybe they're not even going to be the right answer, but maybe they'll spark some new idea, right? So really getting comfortable. If you're not comfortable with feedback, you're not comfortable with business. You're not going to be able to build a business if you are not comfortable receiving feedback, because all we're ever doing as entrepreneurs is testing. You know, is this hitting the mark? Is this resonating? Is this solving the actual problem? Is this the actual problem? Like, is this your problem, or am I way off on that as well? If you're not doing those interviews, if you're not gaining that kind of feedback, if you're not asking questions of your customers, you know, what did you like? What did you not like? What do you want more of? What do you want less of? You're never going to know. So we really have to get comfortable with that type of feedback and comfortable learning and growing. And then she said, after you've done that, then the next step is to ask yourself, who is already reaching the market that I want to reach? Right? So who has a similar ideal customer avatar, ICA, and how can I network with those people? Then it's just about putting yourself out there in a whole new way, being comfortable with a whole new rejection. So you're going to put yourself out there and ask for a podcast interview. Like, will you interview me on your podcast? Ask for, excuse me, you guys, I'm totally burping on a live stream. Real life, right? It's what happens. Ask for those type of networking opportunities. Get yourself into networking events, something like this, right? Where you're just connecting with other people, you're building relationships, and you're able to collaborate in a way that's going to help you to find your niche market and, you know, be able to connect with them. So drop me a comment. How do you guys feel about receiving rejection on a scale of 1 to 10? Like 10 being, I am totally comfortable. I love criticism. I love critique. I love feedback. I thrive on it. It makes me better. And 1 being, oh my freaking goodness, I want to crawl under my bed with cookies and maybe cry and for me, it's always like curl up with Netflix and zone out for a minute because I just have to like nurture my poor broken heart, right? Like my poor broken ego really is what it is. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you fall in terms of your comfort level receiving critiques and potentially negative feedback on what you've done? Drop that in the comments, okay? Another thing that I just had to put out here, and I think that this is just, Tiffany said 1. I hear you, girl. We've all been there. So here's something that Marie said. So how many of you, let me ask you this. How many of you have ever felt like a deer in the headlights when somebody asked you, where do you want your business to be in 5 years? Or where do you want your business to be in 10 years? And you're just like, I'm just trying to figure out where it's going to be in like 3 months. Have you guys ever felt that? Can you put like a yes, just like caps, all caps in the comments if you feel like it's so difficult to like look forward 5 years and figure out this 5-year plan, and it's so big, and that's definitely something that I've experienced, and I've gotten really good at longer term planning, but 5 years is like, whoa, I don't even know yet. So someone had asked Marie Forleo, this amazing female entrepreneur, multi-million-dollar business, like just super, super incredible woman, 5 years from now, where do you see yourself and your team? And she's like, you're not going to like this, but I have no fucking idea. And everyone was like, oh, thank you so much. Like everyone just felt this pressure lifted of like, we don't need to know where we're going to be. Here's what she said. She said, we have a plan for about 18 to 24 months out. We have a really good idea of where we want to be in 18 months and a better idea or good idea for 24 months, maybe up to 36 months. But she said 5 years these days is more like 20. Things change so fast. So give yourself some freaking permission to not know where things are going to be in 5 years, because none of us on God's green earth knows where anything's going to be in 5 years, right? Like it's all changing so quickly right now. So that was like a huge, like, oh, thank you. I've always just kind of like loved that for myself, but she just gave me permission to just like declare it and admit that, yes, I don't have a 5-year plan. I've never wanted a 5-year plan, but I've never wanted to admit I didn't have a 5-year plan, because that's what we're taught, right? As women, as female entrepreneurs, we need to have this business plan. We need to be, professional. Here's this amazing woman, and she's like, I don't know. I know I'm still going to be helping people. I know I'm still going to be making a difference in people's lives, but what that's going to look like, we'll see. I love that. Can I get an amen if you just love that and just feeling like, so here's the other thing that she did. She says twice a year they sit down and they just do kind of like a vision casting, like where do we want to go? What's coming up? What do we want to do next? Twice a year they sit down and look at all of this. Now I love that. I do this on a big scale about once a year, and then I do it on a smaller scale once a quarter. Like, what do I want over the next quarter? I love that they sit down twice a year and just as a team, her and her team just sit down and look at their big vision of where they want to be long term. So I thought that was really helpful. The last thing that I picked up from Marie was the fact that every time somebody asked her a question, and someone else picked this up as well, every time someone asked her a question, she had a story to tell. And I think that she made a note to say, Google automatic writing, if you're not familiar with it. I'm not either, so I'm going to be Googling this later. But what I really took away from that was just the importance of storytelling, because every point that she made with a story, I remembered it. I got it. It made sense to me. And I think that in our marketing, when we're talking to our customers, when we're talking to our clients, if we can relate it with a story, and really good storytelling, right? Not just sharing a testimonial, but like real storytelling that leads to the point of what you're going to teach, that is so much more poignant, because our brains are wired to remember stories, right? We love them. We've loved them since we were children. We watch them in our movies. Like, we want to see a story. So if you can bring stories into your business in some way, all of you do a little bit something different, but if you can bring more stories in, I thought that was just a really poignant thing. Okay, so I'm trying to go through this as fast as I can, you guys. Literally, it was 8 hours, so I am like totally synthesizing. So the next thing that I want to talk about is building your support system, your team, whether this is a VA, a project manager, at what point do you start to scale and bring in outside help, outsourcing things or delegating things, how to create a team culture, all of those things. So I'm going to go through this a little bit quickly. I have no idea what that sound is. I'm sorry, I'm in an Airbnb in San Diego and there's just weird noises all around me. Who knows? So the first piece of advice, this was from Marie Forleo as well, is just like we get really clear on our ICA, our ideal customer avatar, ideal client avatar, so the person that we are serving, she also recommends that you have an ideal employee avatar for the position that you're wanting to fill. So I also will say, if you're not sure what position that is, sit down and actually make a list of what are the things that would free up my time and my energy so that I could be doing, the most productive things in my business instead of the least. But then create an ideal employee avatar. Who is this person? What are their qualities? What do they bring to the table? How do they fit into the culture? All of that kind of thing. Then she said, you just need to go balls to the wall to find them. This is Marie Forleo. If you guys don't know her, she is like totally uncensored. You have to love her. She said, start with your list. So if you have a newsletter list, you're going to start there. Start with your friends and your network, get on social media and put out that ideal employee avatar saying, this is exactly who I'm looking for. I need somebody who's good at blah, blah, and blah. I need somebody who, has experience with X, Y, and Z. Who do you know? She said the majority of the people that they've found have either come from her business network or her personal network. Some of them came to her and said, I have these skills and I see that you have this gap in your business. Can I support you in this? And others, she put out a call and had that come in. So I thought that was really great advice to have that avatar, just like we do in our business. She said some things that she recommends is that they either have experience or they have a deep hunger to learn and develop as, whatever role it is they're filling in your business, to always, always, always trust your instincts and to always do a trial period. So this could be giving them a project to do, small or large. This could be a 3-month trial period. You could bring them on as a freelancer. She related this to dating, right? Don't go on one date or interview with somebody and then get married, right? Like you're marrying them and you're going to work together forever. Never put that out there. Always tell them, let's go into this as a trial basis and see if we're a good fit. Make sure that they have the work ethic. Make sure that they have the communication skills. Make sure that they just fit in with the vibe of your company or the vibe that you're trying to create. And that you connect with them. You actually enjoy working with them because, you're going to be together for a long time. So you might as well like them. And then as soon as you see that they are not the right fit, the most compassionate thing to do is to let them go immediately. Don't drag it out, especially if you have other team members. That's just going to cause more pain. Just let them know it's not the right fit. They probably feel the same way. It's awkward. It's uncomfortable, especially if this is your first hire and first fire. I know I have been there. You just got to rip the Band-Aid off and make it happen. And then let's see. So what order do you hire in? So Amy Porterfield actually had her entire team come up on stage and we were able to ask all of them these types of questions. So the first thing was, don't hire too many too quickly. It's really important to hire one person at a time and no more than one per every 90 days. It takes at least 90 days to train somebody properly. And you don't want a whole bunch of new people all at once coming into your business. This is very difficult. Now, I personally, when I hired, I actually found a VA team. So it was a team of independent, women who had different skills, different tasks. And so I can attest to the fact that it is very complicated to bring a bunch of new people into your business all at once. This was strategic on my side. I had the budget for one person, but I had the tasks for about 50. And so I brought in a team that could do a little bit here and there with different skill sets. And I went into it knowing that the first 3 to 6 months are going to be really rough while we figure everything out and they learn me and I learn them and we just, mesh everything together. So very, very true. It takes a long time to train someone. One of the strategies there is to create some standard operating procedures for every single task. And a great way to do this is to actually video yourself as a screencast, video yourself doing the task, talking through it. Here's what you do. If this happens, here's what you do. Turn that into a little training video and stick that with the task. So if you have something like Asana, which is a project management, or Trello, and you are keeping your task management in there, keep that training video in there as well. So if somebody else has to step in, that training video is in there. They know how to do it. You're not repeating or retraining. If somebody steps out of your business and you bring a new person in, all those videos are there as well. In terms of increasing team productivity, one of the things that she really talked about was just the importance of everybody not only just being on the same page, but having the same vision and being a part of that bigger vision for your business. And they do this, Amy and her team do this through weekly team visionary meetings. She has Chloe, who is her integrator. So she actually interacts with Chloe, and then Chloe goes and does one-on-one team meetings with everyone else. Now, for those of you that are in direct sales, I think that this really correlates the same way. Having that weekly team meeting with your leaders, and then meeting one-on-one with your leaders and allowing them to meet with their teams as well. They review that vision, their vision, every single week, and they review their plans and their tasks for that week to make sure that it aligns with their vision. And I love that they do this every week, because this is something that most people do not do often enough. And it's very easy to get caught up in the minutia and the tasks and the day-to-day and the distractions and not realize that we're not moving forward in our business. So making sure that you're constantly aligning, that your big projects for the week are aligning with that long-term vision or that big vision, and then, letting everything fill in when it does. And I'm going to have a video, not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after, that talks about this a little bit more in depth in terms of time management and time blocking. So be sure you're subscribed, because that's a really good one. You're going to want to see it. And then let's see. And then she also said she has themes for her week. So on Mondays, she does these types of tasks. They do all of our team meetings or something like that. On Tuesdays, they do these types of tasks. On Wednesdays, it's all content creation. On Thursdays, it's something else, so that they can really focus in, or Amy especially can focus in on different things on different days. So I thought that was very helpful as well. And then how do you manage your team and their tasks? If anybody has ever had a team, especially if you have multiple people on your team, you can get very bogged down in just answering questions and making sure things are getting done and getting notifications of everything getting done. So they use Asana. It's ASANA for their organization. They are constantly communicating with their team on everybody's bandwidth to make sure that everybody's doing well in the tasks that they have the time and space to be able to do the things they need to do. And they're very solution oriented. So they have a rule that nobody comes to the table with a problem without a potential solution with it. So it's not just like, come and, here's my problem, everybody else needs to fix it. It's, here's my problem, here's a potential solution that I'm thinking about, because it helps everybody to stay in that frame of mind of being solution oriented. And then they really emphasize the fact that everybody needs to be on board with the same processes and systems. For them, it's using Asana. So they're consistently reinforcing using Asana on a daily basis. If a question comes up, they're directing people, can you put that in Asana? Let me send you a link to a task in Asana to answer that question for you, that sort of thing. So just some kind of day-to-day minutia. Tiffany said on Wednesdays they wear pink. I wouldn't doubt it. They seem like they probably have way too much fun together, which, like, #goals it was amazing, amazing group of women. It was like basically a big group of best friends who all run a business together. Like, how many of you, come on, that would be so cool. Okay, so now I'm going to switch gears a little bit. So we've been talking about teams. I want to get into social media. I'm going to share a few little kind of general social media things, and then I'm going to blow your mind with Instagram. Okay. So one of the things that they were talking about, and Brooke, this may answer the question that you asked last night, at least to some degree. There was a question about managing groups, increasing engagement in groups, and kind of best practices for that. So they said, really, it's about fostering a helpful environment within your group, and everything you're doing is really geared towards, is this fostering a helpful environment, not just help from you. So you don't want to be the only person in there posting or answering questions. You're wanting to encourage other people to do that with you. So first of all, they said, know your goals. Like, what is the goal of your group? Why do you have your group? Or, maybe it's a social media page or something like that. What is the goal? Make sure that every effort that you have, you're asking yourself, is this tailored to that goal? How is this tailored to that goal? Because if you can't clearly describe that, it's probably not, right? And then in terms of Facebook groups in particular, really encouraging other people to answer questions. Every time you post, you also want to ask a question so that you're encouraging people to, come in and share something. I personally love to ask questions, and I'm doing this more and more. I like to ask questions that encourage people to feel good about themselves. So instead of asking a question like, what's your biggest struggle? Nobody wants to answer that. Like, how many times do we want to think about our biggest struggle? But if we say, what was your most recent win? Or, when was a time where you just totally nailed it? Or something along those lines where you're helping people to kind of step into a more empowered place with their answers. It's encouraging. It creates the right vibe. It's in creating that engagement, but you're also just helping people to see that I have something to bring to this group as well, so that you are creating more of that engagement also. So encourage people to share wins, ask questions, answer questions, encourage them to ask questions, encourage them to answer questions. One way that I do this is if I have somebody come to me outside of the group, I'll actually say, you know what, this would be a really amazing topic for the group. Would you mind going in and posting on this? This would be really helpful for others to see. That's been a really great tool for not only that person to be able to connect with others, and again, from that role of I have something to offer, but also for those people to be able to engage with that person and take that wisdom that that person has to offer as well. So let's see. They also said set these expectations from the beginning, so you can do this, with your group description, with your group rules, with the questions that people can answer when they go to add the group or to join the group. Set those expectations, keep them written in the group, maybe a pinned post, do an engagement contest. So in our group insights, that I've never seen this myself. I'm excited to check this out. But in our group insights, there's actually a way to see who has engaged the most. And now Facebook is actually giving badges to people based on the type of engagement, if they're conversation starters, things like this. And that's going to help also increase that engagement. But the contest that you can do is like, telling people whoever offers the most helpful questions or answers over the next however long is going to receive this great freebie from me. Maybe it's time with you or a product that you have or something like that. Just to get people in there and talking and engaging. Live video, like, hands down, was promoted over and over again, especially Q&A, because it is more engagement. And then keeping a schedule. Whether you're posting certain things on Mondays or you're doing Facebook Lives on Tuesdays, like very, very consistent schedule is going to be helpful. And then another general little thing around social media was the question of, do you batch your social media posts? And Amy Porterfield is absolutely, she batches her podcasts 6 at a time. So she records 6 at a time. They do this way out in the future. They use Hootsuite. They create social copy from their podcast. So they're kind of recycling their content from podcasts to create social copy, as well as just creating social copy to promote the podcast. They load all of that into Hootsuite and they schedule that out. And then they just check weekly that everything is going out, the way that it was planned to go out. So yes, 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 ladies. And if any gents are here, you need to batch everything, because you don't have time to try to come up with stuff on the fly and, oh my gosh, I forgot to post yesterday. And you need to be batching everything at least a week or 2 in advance. I recommend a month in advance. You can leave some wiggle room in there for some very organic in the moment posts, but you do need to be sitting down, giving yourself 30 minutes. It's so easy to get into the zone and just, brainstorm and come up with some ideas and put it together than it is to sit down every single day and do that. So huge time management strategy there. Please make sure you're batching the crap out of everything. Okay. That's all of that. Now I'm going to drop some serious wisdom about Jasmine Star. So how many of you are on Instagram? Can you just type IG in the comments? If you are on Instagram and you feel like it is potentially the hardest place to grow and engage your audience, if that is you, just put an IG in the comments. If you do not put an IG in the comments, you're either not on Instagram or you are a genius and probably need to be teaching us all what you're doing, or you're lying. I don't know. So here's the deal. Jasmine Star is amazing. Absolutely love her. Very down to earth, very real. And she just pretty much laid it all out on Instagram. So I'm going to go through my notes. I'm going to go through like almost verbatim on my notes, because the thing that Jasmine Star said, and I think I'm going to steal this and start using it. She's like, listen, I don't talk fast. You listen slow. So she like poured it all out, and we were like trying to get it all. So I literally have like 1 or 2 word notes, and I'm going to drop all this on you. So everybody knows about the Instagram algorithm, right? It went from chronological to not, and it kind of messed everybody up. Well, what she talked about was what the algorithm is actually doing now. So basically what she said was IG kind of opened their doors. They brought all these people in and they said, we're going to show you exactly what our algorithm is about. Here's what it's about. Number 1, captions matter and photos matter, but engagement matters most. Okay, remember that. The algorithm prioritizes engagement. This is why you can see crap photos, but you're seeing them all the time, because the engagement is there. This is also why I always see my sister's pictures of my niece, because I am always going to like and comment a gushy comment on those posts. Instagram knows that that's what I want to see. So if my sister has posted, it is always the first post in the algorithm, because they are basing it on my engagement. She said that it relies completely on the behavior that is unique to that person to create a unique feed. So if 2 people were following the same 100 people, but they liked different things, when they opened up their app, they would see different posts. So this is what the algorithm is. It is solely based on who you usually engage with. It's going to show you that again and again. And then it's going to show you things similar to that. If you are not sure why Instagram is showing you what it's showing you, she said, go to your Discover page and you're going to see the pattern. It's going to be like food and puppies and this and that. That's what it's prioritizing for you based on your engagement. So that's number 1 to understand. Let's see. So what does this mean in my notes? So this is the problem when you take really fast notes. Actions someone taken IG determines their feed. Oh, okay. So the actions that they have taken in their Instagram account is going to determine their feed, right? So this is based on a couple different things. They're going to base it first on interest. So your past behavior on similar content predicts what you will see in the future. Okay. So the algorithm is based on interest. It's then based on recency. So if it was posted yesterday versus an hour ago, you're going to see the most recent stuff. The timeliness of the post, so maybe potentially the time of day. And then her recommendation is, because of this, you need to be posting on a daily basis. If you are not in there on a daily basis, your stuff's not going to get seen. Now, I agree with this to an extent. I believe in boundaries as a business owner, and I will not go in there. I do not plan any content for the weekend. If something organically comes up and I want to share something, I will, but I do not plan content for the weekend because I'm so big on boundaries. So I do 5 times a week. I didn't ask her if that was okay, but it's okay by my book. But her thing was, daily content ensures that people are engaging with you. If they have not engaged with you for 2 weeks because you haven't posted since 2 weeks ago, the chance of them seeing your post now is very unlikely, because they've been engaging with all these other people over the past 2 weeks. They're going to see those people instead. So if your engagement, if your posts on Instagram are like this, right? I'm posting a whole bunch of days in a row and then not for several weeks, you're not going to get seen and your engagement is going to drop. Next, it is based on relationship. So how close are you to the person who shared the post? You're going to have a higher ranking for people that you've interacted with in the past. So this is based on comments. Excuse me, it's based on tags. So if you're tagging somebody in a post or they're tagging you in a post, it's also based on DMs and stories. Excuse me, you guys. Oh my gosh, I just keep burping on a live stream. Like, it's recorded for all of history. Amen. So her recommendation is to get in there and engage the crap out of your followers. Comment, like meaningful comments, not just like great post, thumbs up, but like a real meaningful comment, really connecting with people. And, you know, if you're doing stories, you know, trying to pop in there a couple times a day and encourage engagement. So use all of the little engagement things, you know, the polls, the slider, the ask a question, encourage people to get into your DMs and to answer you back in your DMs, have a conversation in the DMs. Here's a little thing that she said. Go and engage with somebody that you don't usually engage with in your DMs, and then see if their content pops up on your feed next time. Chances are it's going to be at the top of your feed because they're looking at that and saying, you have a closer relationship with this person, so we're going to show you this person's thing. Now, I also personally wonder if they, because it is owned by Facebook, if they are looking at Facebook relationships as well. So for instance, my sister, we're listed as sisters on Facebook. Is Instagram showing me more because of that relationship? I don't know. Now, I'm not saying that you should go and friend all of your potential clients and customers. I don't think you need to follow all of your potential clients and customers. You wouldn't be able to anyway. They cap you on the amount of followers you can have, but you at least need to be engaging with people. So number one is if somebody leaves a comment, even if it's a spammy comment, this was, I thought, really clever. Even if it's a spammy comment, reply to that comment. The reason that I think this is really clever is because even if it's a bot, that bot was hired out by somebody. It was probably a business owner without a lot of time and effort. And so they're like, let me try this bot thing out and see how that works. And I'm going to do a bunch of great post comments. But if you go and you reply and you say, thanks so much, you know, what did you like about this, right? And you're encouraging more engagement, they're still going to see those responses. So that's a real person now coming and engaging back with you. Not only that, but Instagram is also seeing that you're replying to people. So she's like, you need to reply to every single comment on your page. No matter what it is, you need to reply to every single one of them, because that is going to increase the engagement, which is going to increase how often your posts are shown in the algorithm, in the feed. So even the spammy comments, give them a little like, hey, thanks for your spammy comment. I love you too. How you doing? No harm, right? Also, remember that there's still real people doing the best they can. And, you know, even if they try something spammy to see if it works, they're still a human being. So treat them with some love. Okay, so her solution to hacking the algorithm is that, A, you have to show up. She said this, I don't know how many times, show up. If you are not showing up, if you are half-assing it, you're not going to see what you want to see. Number two is you have to add value, offer real value to people. So if you are just doing a random post with a tiny little caption that really doesn't say anything, it doesn't encourage engagement, it's not asking for their opinions, it's not giving some sort of question for people to answer, they've got nothing to do with that post. They're just going to keep sliding by. Like, oh, it's a nice post of your dog. That's great. They've got nothing. There's nothing there for them. So I've noticed this myself, even when I'm trying to engage with people, sometimes it's very difficult because you're like, what do I say to this post? Give them something to say, ask a question, and they'll answer it. So she said, are you using Instagram or are you on Instagram? Right? So there's two differences there. So her differences are, if you are on Instagram, you post only when you remember. You are usually doing a lot of promo posts, or you start posting a lot right before you're promoting something. I'm guilty of this too. It appears randomly. It's not on any sort of schedule. It's just like popping in and out, whatever. You're doing all this without a strategy. So your photos don't have a strategy. Your captions don't have a strategy. You know, your frequency doesn't have a strategy. You're just popping in and out when you think of it. If you are using Instagram, this is about posting consistently. It's about creating one-on-one connection, responding to every comment and every DM. Comments with more than 4 words. That is Instagram's thing. They want to see you using more than 4 words. And honestly, like, I think it should even be more than that. If you really want to comment and engage with people, leave a real comment. Like, you know, a full sentence would be great, not like a partial one. Posting with intention. So why am I posting this? What value am I adding? You know, how am I helping someone? Where is this leading them? How is this serving them? And then having a real posting strategy. That could be around frequency. That could be around, again, what you're posting, all that sort of thing, but being very specific and having a clear map to your posting content, to the content you're posting. She talked about if you are a business, you just need to go and get some personal photos, or excuse me, professional photos versus personal photos. So trade your services with somebody if you can't afford it, but just go and get some great photos done for your business. And it doesn't matter what kind of business you're doing. This is the face of your business. People are only going to really look at the first few photos. It needs to be something that's like, oh yeah, this is nice. I'd like to see this, because first and foremost, people are on Instagram to be inspired. They want to see something pretty, right? Like legit. We scroll and we look at pretty things. I look at rugs and pictures of succulents and like pretty things. That's it. So making sure that your photos are that. And there's a lot of things. She has something called Social Curator, which offers you stock photography. Unsplash.com is free stock photography. You don't even have to do attribution. There's a lot of ways to get really great professional photos without having to pay for them. So if that's a sticking point for you, you don't have to let it be. There's always a strategy. As Marie Forleo would say, everything is figure outable. Right? So she also said one of the things that she recommends is something that she did was start tracking successful people in your niche on Instagram. How often do they post? What are their people responding to? You know, which posts have the most engagement? You know, what kind of captions are they using? What kind of photos are they using? And just start really noticing their patterns and what's working for them. That's going to give you a lot of clues as to what's going to work for you as well. Regular, consistent, and with purpose. When your followers engage and you're engaging with your followers, it starts to create momentum in the algorithm. Then the algorithm is showing your posts to more people. You're popping up in the top hashtags. You just start to gain that momentum over and over again. Let's see. Oh, so here is something I thought was really interesting. She does not like when people do the 9-square grid. So they have like one picture that shows up like as one big picture, but it's like all 9. Do you guys know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about that? Can you just drop a yes in the comments if you know what I'm talking about? So it's like a picture of your face, but it's broken into 9 pictures. And then each one maybe has the same comment on it. You know, maybe it doesn't. This was not her jam. The reason that she does not like this is that she's talking about the fact that when you have when you're doing a 9-square grid, especially if you're using the same caption for every single photo, what you're really doing is tailoring to newbies. And the current followers that are there are a little miffed, right? They're like, oh, there's another photo with the same caption. Oh, and she gave an example and it was like part of somebody's hair. That was all you could see. Like that would be a really weird thing to scroll past in Instagram. It's just like part of your hair, right? But we don't really see it. We don't think of that because we're focusing on that 9-square grid. So what she talks about is pay attention to the single post. You need to be engaging your current followers because that's going to create the momentum in the algorithm to bring in more. People are only going to see your 9-square grid one time when they jump onto your profile to follow you. After that, they're seeing once. They're just seeing one photo at a time. So you really need to be engaging those people. So if you've noticed her grid, there's still some strategy to it in terms of placements. So it looks pretty for somebody who is just popping into her profile and checking it out. But at the same time, it's a single post that can be very relevant to somebody who's just scrolling their feed and reading her post. I thought that was a really great little note that she made there. And then she also said this: fix your bio before you fix your feed. And she gave some amazing strategies for a really boss bio. So are you guys taking notes yet? Because this is where it's going to get legit. So your bio is your business card. Number one thing you need to have is your description. You need to get hyper-focused on your title, and you need to describe it like you're talking to a 5-year-old. So in other words, she gave this example of like saying, you know, photographer versus memory capturer for a lifetime of shared blah, blah, blah. And it was like this big, beautiful, poetic thing. But she was like, what is that? You need to be able to describe it in a way that people are like, oh, that's what you do. They need to know what you do and not feel like, huh? Like, what did she just say? So make sure that your title is crystal clear and very, very simplified. Describe it like you're talking to a child so that, you know, anybody can know without any guesswork exactly what you do. Then you have to answer this question, fill in this blank. If somebody were talking to a friend, so let's say, Brooke, I'm going to use you as an example. If somebody were talking to a friend and they said, you've got to follow Brooke because she ... You need to be able to fill in the blank. What do you do that makes someone else say you got to follow her? That's what you need to be able to answer. So you need to be able to have your title and then your description. So, you know, I do this for this person and I help you to solve this problem. So getting very clear on that so that somebody can say, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I need, right? And she gave some really great examples, and I wish that I was able to share those with you, but honestly, like, it's just too much, y'all. So the next thing that you need to have in there is benefits. You need to list the benefits for followers. What she really emphasized is what everyone wants to know is what's in it for me. Why should I follow you? So our account is not about us. It's not about our kids or our dog or what we had for breakfast or any of that things. You can do those things in your stories. That's really fun. It's personal. It doesn't have to be curated. You know, it can be very kind of behind the scenes. But our account and our feed, it's not about us. It's about what our business does for them. So we need to be able to list that in the description in a very obviously short, cohesive way, because we only have like what? How many characters do we get? Like not a lot, you guys. And then who is this account for? So this is the next thing that should be in there. So, you know, are you working with overwhelmed entrepreneurs? Are you working with busy moms? Are you working with, who are you working for? Making sure that that's also in your description. When they go and look at your bio, they should feel like this was made for them, right? We're all kind of looking for that in our marketing. We want to make sure that our bio is also that, again, in a very concise way, because we don't have a lot of characters in there. Contact information. Now, I'm kind of surprised by this. I feel like that kind of takes up some space. Thankfully, I have a short email address, but she kind of has a longer one. So this was a surprising one for me, especially because they allow you to have a little message thing, at least if you have a business account. But otherwise, make sure you have your email in there or some way for them to contact you, you know, whether that's your address, if you have a physical location or a phone number or whatever it might be. And then the freebie. And I think all of you probably know the freebie, you know, that should go in your URL. You only have one URL on Instagram. You need to make it your freebie leading to your list. Give a gift and get that connection was what she said. So it could be a guide. It could be, you know, any number of things. But making sure when people jump into your bio, they see, oh, she's got something for me. Let me check that out. And again, trying to use language that your ICA, your ideal client avatar, customer avatar is going to be using or solving a problem that they have. Okay, engagement. So that was bio, right? So that's strategy number one. Strategy number two is engagement. Now I have the note in here of play in the gaps. And I'm sure that she said something very poignant about that. And I don't honestly remember what it is. So please forgive me. That's a lot of content that I've just downloaded. And I have no idea what that means, but I will try to find out and come back tomorrow night and share that with you. Your caption, she said to lead with a benefit to hook them and not be too wordy. So if you're teaching something or sharing something, you want to lead with something that's going to hook them right away, something that's going to grab their attention because it's some, you know, result that they want or benefit that they want. Show behind the scenes, show how you get inspired to do things. This is especially good for product-based businesses. you know, but even service-based businesses, show behind the scenes of what you're doing. You know, if you're having a hard time coming up with content, that's a great way to do it, because let's be honest, we all love to snoop on people's stuff, right? Like, show some of the stuff that you're doing behind the scenes so that they can get inspired with you, or see how something was made, or where something came from. They can know the story behind something. It's going to help create more of that interest. Hire a photographer. I already mentioned that one. If you are not good enough at what you're doing, get better. Like, she's like, you just need to be good at this. This is business. You don't have to be good at everything. You don't have to be perfect at everything. But if you're not good enough at doing Instagram and you want to be good at it, and this is a place you want to be, focus on the skills to just get better, just skill up. It's just a skill, right? And we can all do that. Show what you do for those who can't. So this is another strategy for people in terms of like what kind of content to share and how to gain engagement. If you can do something that other people can't do. So let's say, for instance, you make jewelry and other people can't make jewelry. You make art and other people can't make art. Show what you're doing, just so that people can see that and they can, you know, again, get inspired. Ask yourself the question, is your ICA even on Instagram? We had a huge conversation with this with many entrepreneurs as to whether or not our ICA is even there, or if they are there, how are they using the platform? Do they use it to connect with companies and brands, or is it strictly pictures of their niece, right? So really asking yourself, you know, would I be better served being on Facebook, being on LinkedIn, being somewhere else other than Instagram? Is my ICA on Instagram, and are they using Instagram in the way that I would need them to use it, searching hashtags or whatever it might be? Do not push from IG to Facebook. So IG gives you this little option to instantly share to Facebook. Do not do that. You can use the same content, but upload it directly onto Facebook so that you can appropriately tag people. You can add the locations, all that kind of jazz. Remove the hashtags from it. You know, add in some engagement questions. You can update the caption a little bit. You know, and again, only if it's relevant. And if you can make it more relevant to Facebook than Instagram so that it looks native to Facebook, that's the best way to go. Let's see. We need to give the type of engagement we want to get. So if we want meaningful comments, we need to leave meaningful comments. If we want people to come and check out, you know, our stories, we need to be engaging in other people's stories. We need to be giving the type of engagement we want to get. She gave this great analogy for this. Imagine that there's this big party, right? It's a big networking event, and you walk into the room and you're like, I'm here. And then you look around and like, you're like, why isn't anybody talking to me? That's what we do on Instagram. Okay, truth-telling time. Like, is this you? Do you guys do this? Like, you put out great content. You're like, hello, Instagram. Check out my pictures. Check out my captions. And then you're like, why is it crickets? Like, what's happening? Why isn't anybody talking to me? I'll be honest, like, guilty. Put a guilty in the comments if you know you've done this. I know I'm not alone. This was such a great analogy to understand. If you want to go into Facebook, you need to go into it like you'd walk into a party. You need to go in and you need to go to other people and you need to ask them questions. And like, you know, tell me about yourself and engage with them. Start that conversation. And then people are going to also come to you and start asking you questions and engaging in that conversation on your feed as well. So, right? Like, that's such a great analogy. Okay. Yeah. Brooke is admitting it. Elizabeth, I don't know if that yes was to that or something else, but tell me if you're guilty of that too. I know I totally am. I think we all are. Your captions, give people a story, ask questions, give them the opportunity to engage with something, let people in or behind the scenes. I've said some of this before. Respond to every comment, even spam, create conversations, not statements. Do not put statements on your IG. Don't just constantly be preaching it. Like, no joke. Like, there's nothing wrong with preaching it sometimes, but it's about engagement. It's about conversation. So instead of going on there to teach, go on there to connect. Right? Like, think about that one for a second. How many of us as businesses go on there to teach or to sell or to position ourselves as business people or the people that the problem solver, the whatever it might be, but we're not engaging. We're not there to create connection. That's what IG is about. It's about connections, not about preaching. Use your other platforms for preaching and use your Instagram for engaging and nurturing relationships. Engage with hashtags. And then again, we teach people how we want to engage. We teach people how we want them to engage with us, something like that. Okay, so work for that engagement. Work it, girl. Work it, right? Personal account over business account. Her theory is go with a personal account. Now, I don't know for those of us who have already switched to a business account if we can switch back, but her idea is, you know, look at Facebook. Look what happened to pages. Pages used to get lots and lots of traction, lots of traffic, and then now they've tanked in the algorithm because Facebook wants you to monetize it, right? They want you to boost posts. They want you to do all this stuff. They're funneling attention into groups or into lives or things like that. She's like, you know, I kind of feel like they're owned by Facebook. It could go in the same direction. So she actually, even at 250,000 followers, she still has it as a personal account. Now, that means you can't get the swipe up function. It means you cannot get analytics. I kind of feel like they have put those functions only for business accounts because they want people to switch to business accounts so that they can potentially, you know, use them differently in the algorithm. I don't know, but that's something to consider. And then here is a question I asked. As a busy business owner, how do you balance it all? How do you make sure that you can show up here but not feel consumed when you have a business to run? And basically the answer was set some clear boundaries, and 10 minutes twice a day is something that anybody can do. So go in, do your posts, do your engagements, answer people, you know, do it while you're standing in line. Whatever boundaries you want to set up with it is totally fine, but 10 minutes twice a day is totally functional. So my Airbnb roomies are going to walk in a minute. You guys can totally come in, by the way. I don't know if they're standing out there because they're a little bit nervous. This is what it is, guys. You just get to room up with the most amazing people. Okay, so I'm almost done. This has been, there's so much great content here. I know this is a longer live than I even expected, but it's such amazing content. That's everything from Jasmine Star. She laid it all out. I feel like it was just really, really good stuff. Leave a comment or leave a note in the comments and let me know what you feel like is your biggest takeaway from everything that I just said with Jasmine's stuff. Where do you feel like it's really going to help you the most with your Instagram strategy? As you're doing that, what I want to do is talk about Amy Porterfield and, hold on. Hi, guys. Do you guys want to come and say hi? So I'm going to wrap this up. We've only got a couple more minutes. Amy Porterfield talked about how to play bigger. And what I want to do is leave you with the 3 questions that she had all of us do some kind of stream of consciousness journaling on. So number 1, the first question, you guys can write this down. And if somebody can put this into the comments, that would be amazing. The first question is, what does it mean to you to be a big deal? Okay, so she had us all sit down for several minutes, write that answer out. What does it mean to you to be a big deal? Like, get really nitty gritty. What would you be doing? Where would you be doing it? Who would you be doing it with? You know, what would you launch out into the world? What would that look like? How much money would you make? Like, who would you be interviewed by? Put all of that together. So that's question number 1. Question number 2 is, what do you need to do to show up in that way, right? To start playing that way or to be moving in that direction. What do you actually need to do? What are the action steps to put into place? And then number 3, what do you need to stop doing? So this could be mindset, this could be habits, this could be, you know, productivity. You could look at this in a million different ways. You could look at your strategies that are not working. What do you need to stop doing? So the 3 questions are, what does it mean to be a big deal? What do you need to do to show up? And what do you need to stop doing? Those are her 3 questions to start playing bigger in your business. All right, y'all, like my voice, I'm seriously losing my voice right now. I'm so thrilled that you guys are here. I want to remind you that tomorrow night, there's one more live stream, 8 p.m. Pacific. She has told us that tomorrow is all about money-making strategies. So I'm very excited because I think my notes are going to be real nitty-gritty tomorrow. You guys can hop back in. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Give me a thumbs up. leave me a comment introducing yourself. And if you have any other questions that you would love for me to be on the hunt for, be sure to drop those in the comments between now and tomorrow morning. I will check in. I keep those with me all day long, and I will keep looking for those answers. So thank you guys so much for being here. I'm totally going to wrap this up because all my roomies are standing over there trying to be really super quiet. You guys are totally okay, by the way. It's totally all right. Like, they're like, no, I don't want to mess you up. It's all good. Thank you guys so much for being here. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to come back tomorrow night. Be sure to drop any additional questions in the comments. And yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to go get some water, get some sleep. I'm getting up at 5:30 in the morning to get a walk in and to get back at this tomorrow. So I will see you guys tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Pacific time. Peace out, y'all.